if you caught the recent segment on the Today Show about how to treat an armed intruder in your home, you may have had a few questions that remained unanswered, but AWR Hawkins of Breitbart News is here to help. AWR, welcome back to Smart Life. So good to have you. I had to laugh. Some of the instructions, first of all, if someone comes in your home, these words actually happen. And there are people out there dumb enough to believe this, AWR. Treat them like royalty. Direct them to your precious things and your jewelry. Should we just, while we're at it, go ahead and direct them to our children's rooms too? I mean, how stupid can they be? But wait, we're not done. This is going from your article. This is so hilarious. Direct them to the money and the jewelry. You might want to, now this is getting a little edgy here for the statists out there who don't want to get violent, don't want to have a gun. But you might want to keep a can of wasp spray, can I say that, by your bed so that you can spray them. Now, I don't know what you do exactly if they are looking at you with a gun and you have your weapon of wasp spray, but anyway, that's beside the point. You might want to flash your lights, or you might want to have a horn. One of those little bicycle horns, you know what that's going to scare the intruder away, by golly. Or you might want to have your panic button on your car alarm ready to go. The panic buttons on the car alarm in my neighborhood, they go off like 24/7. No one would even notice if I did that. They cannot be serious about this, are they?
No, they're serious. And that's what's so funny about it. But as you say, the scary thing is somebody believes this, and somebody's buying wasp spray right now at Walmart. And that's no criticism of Walmart. Walmart sells a lot of good products, but wasp spray is not a product that you use to handle home intruders. The flash they're going to see if they come in my house will not be for my car alarm. It'll be the first or second flash from my 9mm. If the first one missed them, maybe they'll see the second flash. That's about the best thing they're going to get.
And these examples are all over the place. A store owner in a recent gun battle on September 12th in Houston, he won the old-fashioned way. Tell us about that.
Well, and this is an amazing story because the robber came in armed with a shotgun. For any of your viewers who understand, a shotgun versus a handgun, shotgun is shooting a large shot pattern, probably 2 or 3 foot in diameter, versus the single bullet projectile of a handgun. When the robber came in, the whole family was behind the counter. The father handed the son a 9mm Smith & Wesson handgun. He had confidence his son could handle it. His son began firing on the robber. The robber fired back with the shotgun, then took a defensive position in the back of the store. Kudos to this kid. The kid keeps firing at him with the handgun until he kills the guy. It's a beautiful story. I know your listeners think I'm nuts for celebrating his death, but it was the son's ability to defend his family that was amazing. And when it was all over, he said, that's what I had to do. I had no choice. My family's safety was at stake. So I say kudos to the kid.
Yeah, pretty happy mom that my kids are an excellent shot as well. But, it is something that you have to take very seriously. I was having this debate actually with neighbors of mine just last night. And one of the things that this neighbor said, she's an avid hunter, very well educated on guns. She's a judge, a very well educated woman. But she said, why do people need to have a lot of guns? She just doesn't like the lot of guns part. Can you address that?
Well, I mean, if I address it, I'm not trying to sound like a smart aleck, but why does my wife need to have a lot of shoes? Why does she need to have a lot of purses? And I really think that is a suitable analogy, because as law-abiding citizens, we own a lot of different things, and beyond one pair of a lot of things is more than we need. But we own those things because we like them. With guns, that's a basic argument, but also we own a variety of guns because there are a variety of applications. Sometimes a handgun is the most suitable gun because you're going to use it for concealed carry and home defense. But in other times, a handgun won't work. You need a shotgun. If you're going to be hunting, you need a rifle. And depending on where you're going to need the handgun, you may need more than one type of handgun. So various calibers, maybe various actions, a revolver or a semi-automatic. It's not a stretch to have a lot of different guns for a lot of different reasons, especially if you like guns and understand how each different type of gun serves a different purpose.
And one of the guns that the statists seem to have done a miraculous job convincing the public that shouldn't be out there, is, of course, these assault weapons, which don't exactly exist. And you've talked to us about this on the show before, but I just want you to go over that for those who need that remedial understanding.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, anyone can Google my name and then Google New York Times admits that Democrats created the assault weapon myth. I wrote that over the weekend. The New York Times, I believe they see the writing on the wall for November, and they've come out now and they go, oh, there's really no such thing as an assault weapon. The Democrats created this term in the 1990s. This is what the New York Times says. They say the Democrats created this term. It's a politically defined category of weapon, and they created it simply so they could ban it. They banned it from 1994 to 2004. What did they find out? Crime doesn't drop. What did they find out? Did it help police? No. Police ended up confiscating 1% more assault weapons than they did before the ban. So the ban ended, and now the New York Times said, don't push it anymore. It's not even the type of weapon that criminals like to use.
And one of the other arguments we hear all the time, you know, a lot of women, we talk to them for our, here goes my shameless plug, our new book, What Women Really Want. And one of the things that we address in there is that if you just ask women what makes them motivated politically, the one thing they'll say again and again and again is security. So they want things like stricter border control. They want more freedoms. They don't want government involved with their bodies and their bedrooms. They also want the security of being able to protect their family. And many a woman has been killed because she didn't have a gun that she was trained and knew how to use, or she didn't have the freedom to use that gun wherever it was she was living, especially in like the District of Columbia, for example. But Gabby Giffords is saying that right now, more than ever, the thing that women really want, contrary to what we say in our book, is gun control. And you addressed that recently. Talk to us.
Well, yeah. Well, Giffords says that, and that's so easy to say, but to prove it is another thing altogether, which she never does. There's no material given to back up these claims. If you look at Chicago, I believe the year was 2010. There were 1,400 sexual assaults. If you look at the years 2011 and 2012, you had 400 murders, a little over 400 in 2011. You had a little over 500 in 2012. In each of those years, 10% of the people killed, murdered with guns, were women. So you have 1,400 sexual assaults in 2010. Then you have about 40 women killed with guns in 2011, 50 women killed with guns in 2012. My argument is this. Instead of taking guns, what if we made sure these women had guns? So that when men try to rape, molest, or otherwise harm them, they can take care of business. 911 is minutes away, but the gun could be in their purse, or it could be on their belt. It could be under their shirt. However they want to carry it, that's up to them. But the gun could be with them, and they could stop the adversary right there. That's my argument.
Yeah, and law can't be based on feelings. I mean, we can do what feels good, what sounds like it might work. It almost never works. What really does work is taking away gun-free zones and making them gun-filled zones, because the criminal's not going to go where he's going to be confronted with an armed security guard. And the same thing with marshals on airplanes and the whole thing. And you and I have been fighting this all the way along. Florida, Singapore, Kennesaw, Georgia, all experiments with statistics to back up the fact that arming people and educating them and training them tactically actually works. Liam Neeson has now spoken out on guns. His opinion a little bit surprising. You wrote about it. 1 minute remaining.
Yes, I mean, you've got a guy, he's a gun-toting action hero, and what does he do? You know, you can't see a picture of him without a gun in his hand, but he supports Britain's handgun ban, and he wants the United States to push a similar ban. He says he's terrified by guns. Well, I'll tell you what I'm terrified by. I'm terrified by liberals who make their livings with gun in their hand, but they don't want me to have a gun in mine. That's what terrifies me. And so, you know, I'm kind of sick of the do as I say, not as I do crowd. And he just proved he's one of them. So that's a little too much for me.
Yeah. Well, it's always either the ones in Hollywood who have the guns in all the movies and they get to carry them around all the time and play with them and they don't want you to have them, or the ones like the brass in Washington, D.C. who have security guards, armed guards for their children's schools, in many cases armed security in their own homes. So it's Hollywood and D.C. They have a great alliance like this. They just don't want you to have guns, AWR. They're not really concerned about their security. And that's what people need to recognize about these kinds of people speaking out on these kinds of issues. AWR Hawkins, you can find him at Breitbart. You can find him on Twitter at AWR Hawkins. Love to your precious family. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
All right, absolutely.